Hi, Cliona. It's great to have you here, even virtual,
Hi, thanks, Matea.
to talk to you about your work. Thank you for being here and for agreeing on doing this.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Um, can you tell me how you feel about not having the access to the studio, and have you been able to work on anything since?
Well, yes. I mean, it's been difficult because I suppose my normal work practice involves going out into nature, the botanic gardens or a local park, or sometimes further afield up to Wicklow and working directly from nature. So obviously I've been quite constrained in my normal work practice, as well as not being able to work with print, with etchings. But however, it's been quite interesting because I've found that I've been doing a lot of painting, which anyway, I was doing some painting on the sidelines, but it's given me a lot more time to concentrate and focus on that, which I've been quite enjoying. So, I suppose the biggest difficulty for me has been the 2 kilometre restriction and a lot of places that I might have liked to go to make work being closed. So that's been difficult. But I have quite enjoyed just having some quiet time in my studio when I can find a bit of quiet time to just really focus on painting. So that's been quite good.
Very good. And as you just mentioned, you mostly work outdoors. You
Yes,
work through live drawing directly onto your plate mostly.
yes,
So can
yes.
you tell me, how did you choose the medium of printmaking? It's not a very common way of working in printmaking.
Yes, it's not, I suppose, it wouldn't be traditional certainly, but I suppose I just feel that when you first make a drawing, it has a sort of an energy that if you then transfer it onto a plate, say from a piece of paper, I feel that you kind of lose a momentum or an energy from the original drawing. So for that reason, I like to work directly from whatever my subject matter might be. It's like when you're making a life drawing and you've got to work really fast because it's a short pose, maybe. It really focuses your mind and your intentions, and you really have to pay attention to detail, particularly if you're drawing onto an etching plate, because it's quite an unforgiving medium. I mean, you can remove mistakes, but it's a bit of a hassle and it's a bit of work to remove an error. So it's better if you can get the drawing right first time. So, I suppose that really focuses your mind and gives the work maybe a certain energy, which is something that I've always felt, say, for example, working from photographs or something, I sort of feel that I lose something in the translation, and I feel that I get something, I gain something from working outdoors directly from my subject matter, whether it's a tree or a plant. Or it's also about observing the environment that the plant or tree is growing in, the surrounding nature, the surrounding garden, and the atmosphere, or other things that might be, part of the biosphere around whatever I'm working from. So that all sort of feeds into my work.
Very good. And you work mostly in etching and carborundum, and some
Yeah.
of your carborundum works are very large. How you work around technicalities of working outdoors?
Yes, well, it can be tricky. I use, when I'm working outdoors, I mainly use carborundum, which is quite transportable and it's quite fast as well. So the main difficulty is to try and let it dry a little before you move it back again, from the spot that you're working. I have tried working outdoors with a very large copper plate to make an etching. And I mean, it did work, but it's a lot more difficult because you've got the difficulty of the weight of the copper, whereas aluminium is very lightweight. And even though it can blow around, you can prop it up on an easel or tie it to an easel or tape it to an easel. So you can, keep it stable while you're working. And I can transport them myself without needing sort of an assistant, which will be handy, but not always practical. So you know, there's a number of reasons why I would work on aluminium. And it's also the reason why a lot of my large pieces are diptychs, because obviously to work on a sheet of aluminium, the full size of some of my images would be prohibitive. You know, they're over a meter, well, a meter by 2 meters approximately. So to work on a plate that size also is not practical for me if I'm working alone. So there are practical reasons. I find the carborundum is very, it's a very painterly technique. It allows you a lot of sort of gestural freedom. You can draw back into the carborundum. So it allows you a lot of freedom with regard to working quite fast as well, and creating a lot of texture in a way that you don't get with etching, which tends to be flatter.
And how did you decide to make such large work?
Well, I suppose really that I like to work life size sometimes, and it's challenging, but I just feel that the end result is quite worthwhile. Um, and I suppose it probably feeds in from maybe looking at frescoes and that sort of thing, which are quite large scale, and, you know, trying to sort of create the atmosphere maybe that you get if you're in a garden or in a forest, and, you know, this feeling of being maybe surrounded by trees or surrounded by a garden is kind of all part of the atmosphere that I'm trying to create.
And where does the interest in botanics come from? It seems to be subject matter of most of your work, all of your works actually, in
Yeah,
combination with animals sometimes, but
yes.
seems to be your main focus.
Yes, well, in college, my work was very different actually. So I used to make a lot of still lives and make a lot of photographic etchings, um, and a lot of drawings of insects and that sort of thing as well. So it is quite different what I do now. I suppose that I just really enjoy getting out into nature and drawing directly from nature. I just find it a very pleasurable experience, and I do feel that it does give the work a certain energy as well. So also, my mum would have been had a great interest in nature, and she would have you know, taken us bird watching and things like that when we were kids. And, you know, she was very into flora and fauna. So all of that probably has fed into my work. But I do just feel that we're quite divorced from nature a lot of the time living in big cities. And that for me, I just really get something out of going out into the wilderness somewhere or a more tamed urban space, and just, you know, getting immersed in nature. You know, it's a very positive experience for me.
Can you tell me if you're working on anything at the moment, or do you have any upcoming projects or plans?
Well, I'm making a wood block at the moment for the Makahanga exhibition in the Graphic Gallery. So, so I have a couple of wood blocks here that I'm working on. So one of them is for the background area. So I've spent the last couple of days working on them, and I have my pigments and my colors here. So I'm just trying to finish that up really. I can show you some of the proofs maybe that I have as well. So I've been printing today and yesterday. So I started with this. I then decided that I needed some color in the background. So I've been working on that today and made a second block in order to try and make the image work a little better. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment. So I'm just trying to finish that up now, and then probably get back to some painting. So I've been working on some small and larger paintings, which are tempera on board and tempera on paper as well. So I've been working away with that, as well as working on the wood block. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
How do you feel your work translates into Japanese woodblock?
Well, I really like certain qualities. I really like the texture that you get, the wood grain that you get, and I'm really enjoying it. I find it very absorbing actually working on the wood itself, like just the physicality of working on the wood with the tools is very quite relaxing actually. So I quite enjoy that, and I love the paper, and I also love how you can literally, you know, kind of paint the wood blocks. So you can kind of, this is another one that I made during a class that I did with Kate. So, you know, you can literally paint the color on where you want it. So it's quite loose and quite creative in that way. So I'm quite enjoying that, yeah. So I have a bit of a way to go with it. It's early days, but I certainly like to do more.
Very good. Thanks very much, Cliona. We are looking forward to seeing the print for Mokahanga exhibition. And
You're very
it
welcome.
was very good to hear about your work.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Bye.